Asians, of course, are no strangers to tsunamis, but many unfortunate factors contributed to this tragedy. Tom Sater joins us now. And Tom, obviously so often when tsunamis strike, it's triggered by an earthquake, but that wasn't the case here.
No, in fact, some of the factors really, they didn't feel any shaking from any earthquake. So obviously when they do feel shaking, they automatically get to higher ground because they just assume a tsunami is coming. That didn't happen. Second of all, this was at night. Even if they didn't feel the shaking, they know from just watching the water level, when it recedes into the ocean, it's going to come back, head to higher ground. Yep. This eruption happened at 9:03, and it wasn't until 24 minutes later that they had the tsunami. But they've got a terrible alert system. It is outdated. They need maintenance. Some will tell you the instruments have been stolen, but it's not even high tech. This is an area of the world that needs it more than anyone. But a lot more to go through. Let's take a look, obviously, at what's happening here. This is a picture of the eruption on yesterday. This is 24 hours later. Again, the original eruption was at 9:03 in the evening. Again, holiday time, so there is a bigger population on the coastline celebrating, and so that played a role. But again, 24 minutes later, now we have this tsunami that moved in. It wasn't a tremendous tsunami as far as height, only about 1 meter to 1.5 meters. But it moved in at a good 35, 40 kilometers per hour. So it's the force of that water that moved in about 20 meters, and it's the force of pushing all of that material in the homes and all the debris that caused the fatalities. We had damage to the north of the Sundue Strait and to the south. The damage is much more widespread than you would think. Notice that infrared satellite imagery? That's a plume from what should be hot ash. But when it gets higher in the atmosphere, it cools down, so it looks like a thunderstorm developing. But again, just to give you an idea, we're still seeing eruptions. There is still cause for concern that there could be more underwater landslides, so they're being told to stay away from the coastline. This is what we call a flank collapse. On the southeastern edge, under the water, the sides of Krakatoa are extremely steep. It's believed the force of the land in that landslide possibly moved as fast as 700, 800 kilometers per hour. It displaces the water, creates the tsunami. It doesn't move that fast when it moves on the beach, but again, maybe 35, 40 kilometers per hour. But what the problems we're having, this is damage from the north of the Sundue Strait. I'm going to show you the coastline. Remember back in September, Sulawesi, we had in Palu, that coastline caused a big problem. Here's Krakatoa. Propagating out from that are the waves. Even though the landslide was on the southeastern flank, they still had the damage to the north. Now we go to the coastline. We'll show you more damage. We get to around Karita Beach. The highways are shut down. They are in need of heavy machinery. They are in need of international aid. This resort wiped away. You see the pool and the little hot tub. This is just one of several hotels that were packed with a holiday season. Again, villa after villa, over 500 homes. When we take a look and go a little bit further down on the coastline, notice the curvature plays a big role. And of course, it propagates and it rises with height, especially when you have a shallow beach front like this. Now, in this area here, Tanjung Lesung, this is where the band 17 was playing. This is at night. Again, they did not have a visual of the water retreating, so they never knew it was coming. And now, in the wake of this, we've just got the tangled debris. Again, the death toll is going to most likely rise. They're told to stay away from the coastline. Rain is in the forecast as we head into January. It is the wettest month of the year for Jakarta, and that would include, of course, this area. So again, I want to leave this up on here and show you the climatology, but when we head back, I do want to let you know, Linda, we found that even the U.S. government shutdown, the partial government shutdown, has created a factor here where the USGS site has not been updating. That shows us all tremor activity around the globe from earthquakes and volcanoes, not updating. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center typically gives us images and gives us alerts. That is not up to par right now. The U.S. Embassy itself, to alert visitors and resort goers, did not put out a statement until just about 11 hours ago. So it's affecting a lot more people, even just the government shutdown, as far as the information we need to share with everybody else. So it's a terrible tragedy. Again, this is the second one they've had since September. And then we had the one in August in Lombok, of course, the earthquake there. But it's unfortunate. Here we go again.
And the risk is still there that there could be more volcanic eruptions.
There could. Hopefully it's not going to be as like it was in the 1800s, in which it collapsed upon itself into its own crater. It didn't come above the water until the 1920s again. So, again, it's just a volatile area.
Certainly is. Tom, good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, words of support for those affected by the tsunami are pouring in from around the world, including the Vatican. Pope Francis prayed for the victims at his regular Sunday service in St. Peter's Square.